At exactly 300 hours Universal Earth time, Sarah Chen's quantum scanner detected something that shouldn't exist. She sat up straighter in her chair at the Titan base's deep space monitoring station, her fingers flying across the holographic interface as she double-checked the readings. After 15 years of watching the darkness between stars, she had never seen anything like this. "Director Watson," she called out, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "You need to see this." The station's director appeared behind her within seconds, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of the monitoring screens. Unlike the public space programs that most of the world knew about, the Titan base represented humanity's true capabilities, a secret kept for over a century. "Show me," Watson said, leaning closer to study the quantum fluctuations dancing across Sarah's screen. "It appeared at the edge of the Kuiper belt," Sarah explained, expanding the visualization. "The energy signature matches nothing in our database, but the pattern." She highlighted a recurring sequence in the data. "It's definitely artificial." Watson's expression darkened. "How many?" "At least 30 objects, each roughly the size of Manhattan. They're using some kind of advanced stealth technology, but they can't hide their quantum wake from our sensors." For generations, humanity had maintained a careful facade of technological mediocrity. While the public space programs fumbled with chemical rockets and basic ion engines, hidden facilities like Titan Base had pushed the boundaries of science far beyond what anyone, including their watchers, suspected. Watson tapped his neural implant, connecting to the base's secure network. "General Santos, Priority Alpha. The harvesters have arrived." Throughout the massive underground facility carved into Titan's ice, hidden beneath what the world thought was a simple research station, alerts began flashing. In hangars disguised as storage facilities, crews rushed to their ships, vessels that represented the pinnacle of human engineering, hidden from both their own people and the stars. High above Earth, commercial satellites and space stations continued their normal operations, their crews unaware of the storm gathering at the solar system's edge. This was how it had always been. While humanity played at being technological adolescents, their true guardians watched and waited in the shadows. General Maria Santos strode into the command center, her dark eyes scanning the tactical displays. "Time to intercept." 6 hours at their current velocity, Sarah reported. "They're being cautious, using conventional drives instead of their quantum tunneling technology. Because they don't want to spook the primitives," Watson added with a grim smile. "They still think we're counting ourselves lucky to have reached Mars." Santos nodded, studying the approaching fleet's formation. The harvesters had done this countless times before, appearing near developing civilizations, offering advanced technology in exchange for protection, then slowly stripping each world of its resources and independence. They had perfected their approach over millennia, but they had never encountered a world like Earth. "Signal the Artemis fleet," Santos ordered. "Tell them to maintain their positions in the Oort cloud. And contact our friends in the Pleiades. It's time to call in some favors." For decades, humanity had secretly helped other species resist harvester influence, providing technology and support through layers of proxies and intermediaries. While Earth played the role of an isolated developing world, their agents moved throughout the galaxy, building a network of allies and preparing for this inevitable confrontation. Sarah's console chimed again. "General, they're broadcasting on standard frequencies, audio and visual." "Let's see what they're selling," Santos said, gesturing to the main screen. The image that appeared showed a humanoid figure with silver-scaled skin and elaborate ceremonial armor. Its eyes, like liquid mercury, seemed to look down on them even through the recording. "People of Earth," the figure began, its voice automatically translated by their systems. "I am Supreme Commander Vex of the Galactic Advancement Initiative. We have watched your species' admirable progress with great interest. Though you are young among the stars, we see great potential in humanity. We come offering friendship, knowledge, and a place among the advanced civilizations of the galaxy." Santos muted the transmission. Same script they used on the Centauri colonies before stripping them bare. Status of the quantum shield. Grid is charged and ready, Watson reported. They won't detect it until they hit it. And our visitors from the Pleiades. Sarah checked another display. The Raven's contingent is in position, cloaked behind Titan. 6 ships, all equipped with the countermeasures we provided. The Raven, leader of a confederation of species who had managed to resist Harvester influence, had been one of humanity's first secret allies. While Earth publicly appeared ignorant of alien life, their hidden fleets had helped the Raven's people maintain their independence through carefully concealed interventions. They're launching probes, Sarah announced. Standard scanning pattern, looking for primitive satellite networks and basic defense systems. Santos allowed herself a small smile. Let them find exactly what they expect. Maintain emission controls. As far as they're concerned, we're just a bunch of excited primitives about to experience first contact. The probes swept through the solar system, their sensors encountering exactly what the Harvesters anticipated. A developing civilization's first clumsy steps into space. They detected the International Space Station, various communication satellites, and the small research outposts on the Moon and Mars. Everything appeared exactly as it should for a species just beginning to reach for the stars. What they couldn't detect were the quantum-shielded bases hidden throughout the solar system, the advanced fleet waiting in the Oort cloud, or the network of defenses that humanity had spent a century building in secret. They didn't notice the subtle changes their own probe signals underwent as they passed through Earth's quantum field, unknowingly transmitting far more information than they gathered. They've taken the bait, Sarah reported, watching the probe data stream. Their scans show exactly what we want them to see. They're positioning themselves for a grand entrance, probably planning to appear over every major city simultaneously. Standard shock and awe tactics. Time to show them why you should never judge a book by its cover, Santos said. Signal the Artemis fleet. Tell them to begin Operation Lighthouse, and inform our Pleiadian friends that they're about to witness something interesting. As the Harvester fleet moved closer, preparing to demonstrate their overwhelming technological superiority to what they thought was another easily impressed primitive species, humanity's true capabilities waited silently in the darkness. The hunters were about to discover what it felt like to be the prey. Sarah watched the quantum readings spike as the hidden defense grid powered up. After centuries of waiting and watching, of helping others while pretending to be helpless themselves, humanity was finally ready to step out of the shadows. The real first contact was about to begin, and it wouldn't go anything like the Harvesters expected. The game of deception was about to end, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Harvester fleet's arrival was meant to be spectacular. Their ships, gleaming like liquid metal in the sunlight, emerged from their stealth configurations directly above Earth's major cities. Supreme Commander Vex stood on his flagship's command deck, anticipating the awe and fear their display would generate among the primitives below. This was always his favorite moment, watching a young species realize just how small they were in the cosmic scale. What he didn't expect was silence. No increased communications traffic, his sensor officer reported, confusion evident in her scaled features. No military responses, no panic, nothing. Vex frowned. In thousands of first contact scenarios, he had never encountered this reaction. There should be chaos, emergency broadcasts, military scrambling their primitive aircraft. Instead, the humans continued about their business as if nothing extraordinary was happening above their heads. In the Titan Base Command Center, General Santos watched the Harvester fleet's formation with clinical interest. They really do love their theatrics, don't they? Sarah Chen nodded, monitoring the quantum field readings. The probe data shows they've deployed their full neural interference array. They're trying to broadcast fear and awe directly into the population's nervous systems. Too bad, we've been immunizing Earth's population against that particular trick for the last 50 years, Watson commented. Amazing what you can hide in routine vaccines. Santos touched her neural implant, connecting to the quantum-secure network that linked Earth's hidden defenders. All stations, Operation Lighthouse is now active. Commence Phase 1. Across the solar system, humanity's true technological achievements began to reveal themselves. Quantum fields that had lain dormant for decades activated, creating a web of energy that the Harvester's sensors couldn't even detect, let alone penetrate. Hidden facilities on Mars, Europa, and throughout the asteroid belt powered up weapons systems that had never been tested outside simulation. On the Harvester flagship, alarms suddenly blared. "Supreme Commander," the sensor officer called out, "we're detecting energy signatures everywhere." "They're coming from." "From where?" Vex demanded. "From everything. Every asteroid, every piece of space debris we cataloged. They're all..." She paused, checking her readings again. "They're all moving." What the Harvesters had dismissed as natural astronomical features or abandoned mining operations transformed before their eyes. Quantum shields dropped, revealing massive space stations and defense platforms. The primitive satellites they detected earlier shimmered and changed, their true forms emerging from carefully maintained disguises. "Interesting design choices," Sarah commented, watching the Harvesters' confusion through their own compromised sensors. "They haven't even considered that their quantum encryption was broken centuries ago." "Humanity's greatest advantage," Watson said. "We let everyone think we were struggling with basic binary computing, while we were actually mastering quantum manipulation." Santos opened a channel to their allies hiding behind Titan. "Raven Actual, you're clear to move. Try not to enjoy this too much." The Pleiadian ships, previously invisible to even the Harvester's advanced sensors, cloaked directly behind the alien fleet. Their weapons, enhanced by human quantum technology, locked onto targets that had terrorized their people for generations. "This is impossible," Vex whispered, watching as his tactical display filled with more contacts than he could count. "They're primitives. We verified their technology level. We watched them for decades." "Actually," a new voice said, broadcasting on the Harvester's secure command frequency, "we watched you watching us." The human transmission carried no video, no identification, just words that shattered centuries of Harvester certainty. "For 100 years, you've studied what we wanted you to see," the voice continued. "Every primitive rocket launch, every clumsy satellite deployment, every technological breakthrough, all carefully staged for your benefit. Did you never wonder why Earth seemed to progress exactly as you expected? Why we made exactly the mistakes you anticipated?" Vex's silver scales darkened with rage. "Who is this? How dare you?" "We are humanity's silent service," the voice cut him off. "The guardians you never saw, the helpers you never traced, the shadow you couldn't quite catch. Ask the free colonies in the Pleiades about us. Ask the resistance on Centauri Prime. Ask all the worlds that somehow slipped through your fingers." Around the Harvester fleet, what they had dismissed as primitive human satellites began to move with impossible precision, forming a complex geometric pattern that their sensors couldn't quite analyze. The quantum web tightened, cutting off their escape routes one by one. "Your neural interference technology is impressive," the voice continued conversationally. "We borrowed the concept decades ago, refined it, improved it. Right now, your crews are feeling something unusual, aren't they? A creeping doubt, a nagging suspicion that perhaps, just perhaps, you're not as advanced as you thought." Vex felt it himself, an unnatural uncertainty that no primitive species should be able to induce in his kind. "All ships, full power to shields. Prepare for..." "Oh, those won't help," the voice interrupted. "You see, while you were studying our rocket launches, we were studying something far more interesting. You. Every probe you sent, every scan you performed, every piece of data you collected. It all came through channels we designed, modified by systems we understood better than you did." In the Titan Base Command Center, Santos nodded to Sarah. "Show them what a primitive quantum field can do." Sarah's fingers danced across her console, implementing protocols that humanity had developed over generations of secret preparation. Throughout the Harvester fleet, systems began to fail in impossible ways. Quantum shields collapsed. Weapons powered down. Neural networks crashed. "We could destroy your fleet right now," Santos' voice continued over the command channel. "But that's not our way. We're giving you a choice, Supreme Commander Vex. The same choice you never gave others." The Harvester commander watched helplessly as his mighty fleet was systematically disabled by technology he couldn't even detect, let alone counter. What choice? Leave and never return. Or stay and learn what it means to be truly primitive, to be stripped of everything you relied on, to start again from nothing. We've had centuries to perfect the art of technological regression. Would you like to experience it firsthand? Behind the Harvester fleet, the Pleiadian ships moved closer, their weapons humming with power enhanced by human quantum science. Before them, Earth's hidden defenses continued their impossible dance, weaving a web of energy that defied everything the Harvesters thought they knew about physics. "You have 1 hour to decide," Santos concluded. "Choose wisely. Humanity has watched from the shadows long enough. It's time for the galaxy to learn what that means." In the silence that followed, Sarah monitored the quantum readings with satisfaction. Their neural networks are in chaos. The carefully maintained illusion of superiority is cracking. "Good," Santos said. "It's time for the galaxy's bullies to learn a lesson about underestimating their victims. Signal the Artemis fleet. If the Harvesters choose poorly, I want our ships in position to demonstrate exactly how primitive we aren't." The hour began to count down, and with it, the Harvesters' understanding of their place in the cosmos began to crumble. Humanity's greatest deception was ending, and the price of their silence would reshape the galaxy forever. Supreme Commander Vex made his decision 17 minutes before the deadline. Not by choice. His fleet's quantum core reactors were failing in cascading sequences that his engineers couldn't even begin to understand. The humans had somehow turned their own technology against them, using the Harvester's arrogance as a weapon more effective than any conventional arms. We withdraw," he transmitted, each word burning like acid in his throat. "The Harvester Empire acknowledges Earth's sovereignty and independence." In Titan Base, Sarah Chen's lips curved in a cold smile. "They're trying to embed a quantum virus in the transmission. Pretty sophisticated one, too. Send it to the archives," Santos ordered. "Let our AI systems take it apart. I'm sure we'll find some interesting applications for it." She opened a channel to the Harvester flagship. "A wise choice, Supreme Commander, but incomplete." Vex's silver scales rippled with barely contained rage. "What more do you want, humans?" "The truth," Santos replied. "Tell your empire what you found here. Tell them how thoroughly you were deceived. Let them know that humanity has been watching, waiting, and protecting others from your predation for centuries. You cannot demand. We can, and we will." Santos cut him off. "Because right now, the Artemis fleet is deploying quantum beacons throughout your empire's territory. Beacons that will broadcast the full record of this encounter, and many others, to every world you've terrorized." Behind Titan, the Pleiadian ships moved to form a new pattern, their enhanced weapons still trained on the Harvester fleet. The Raven's voice joined the transmission, adding weight to humanity's demands. "My people remember when the shadows helped us," the Raven said, her multi-tone voice carrying centuries of suppressed anger. "When mysterious allies provided the technology we needed to resist you, we thought they were myths, legends born of desperation. Now all will know the truth." On Earth's surface, life continued normally. Civilians went about their daily routines, protected by neural dampeners that filtered out the Harvesters' attempts at psychological warfare. Only a select few knew that humanity's greatest deception was ending, that the mask of primitive vulnerability was finally being set aside. In hidden facilities across the solar system, quantum computers that made the Harvester's best technology look primitive processed centuries of collected data. Every encounter, every secret intervention, every carefully orchestrated technological breakthrough, all had been leading to this moment. Your fleet will be escorted to the edge of human space, Santos continued. But first, witness the truth you failed to see. At her signal, Sarah activated protocols that humanity had held in reserve for decades. Throughout the solar system, quantum fields shifted, revealing the full scope of Earth's hidden infrastructure. Massive shipyards emerged from dimensional pockets in the asteroid belt. Defense platforms larger than cities shimmered into view around the gas giants. A network of quantum gates, far more advanced than anything the harvesters had ever encountered, appeared at strategic points throughout the system. Impossible, Vex whispered. The energy requirements alone. Primitive problems, Santos replied. Solved by primitive humans while you were watching our chemical rockets. But this demonstration isn't just for you. On thousands of worlds throughout the galaxy, quantum beacons activated. The careful machinations of Earth's silent service were revealed to all the species the harvesters had oppressed. Every secret intervention, every mysterious technological leap that had helped resistance movements survive, all traced back to the supposedly primitive humans. The Age of Shadows is over, Santos declared. Her voice carried across the quantum network to every corner of known space. To all those who have suffered under Harvester dominion, look to Earth. We are the helpers you never saw, the allies you never knew you had. And we are finally stepping into the light. In the Pleiades, resistance leaders watched in awe as their mysterious benefactors revealed themselves. On Centauri Prime, underground movements received transmission codes that confirmed centuries of rumors about Earth's true nature. Throughout the galaxy, quantum technology that the harvesters had never detected activated, creating a new network of communication and cooperation. You never saw us coming, Sarah transmitted to the harvester fleet, because you were too convinced of your own superiority to look properly. Every probe you sent taught us more about you. Every scan revealed your weaknesses. Every attempt to study us was turned back on you. The harvester ships, still trapped within Earth's quantum web, could only watch as their carefully maintained image of technological supremacy crumbled. Their sensors, finally freed from human interference, showed them the truth. Earth was not a primitive world on the edge of space, but the hidden heart of a vast network of resistance and advancement. Signal the Artemis fleet, Santos ordered. Begin Phase 2 of Operation Lighthouse. It's time to help our allies claim what was taken from them. Throughout harvester space, quantum gates began to activate. Gates that had been hidden for decades, waiting for this moment. Earth's true fleet, ships that made the harvesters' vessels look like ancient relics, emerged from their dimensional hiding places. The supposedly primitive humans had built an infrastructure of liberation right under their oppressors' noses. Your empire is built on lies and theft, Santos told Vex. We've spent centuries helping others prepare for this day. Your choice now is simple. Help us dismantle it peacefully, or watch it fall around you. In the silence that followed, Sarah monitored the quantum traffic flooding in from across the galaxy. Species that had suffered under harvester rule for generations were rising up, armed with technology and strategies that humanity had secretly provided. The carefully maintained balance of power was shifting, and Earth stood revealed as the architect of the harvester's downfall. The revolution that humanity had spent centuries preparing was finally beginning, and the galaxy would never be the same. The quantum alert sounded 3 days after humanity's revelation to the galaxy. Sarah Chen's hands froze over her console as the data patterns crystallized on her screen, forming a picture she didn't want to believe. General Santos, she called out, her voice tight. We have a breach. Santos crossed the Titan Base Command Center in swift strides, Watson close behind her. They both knew that in the chaos following Earth's emergence from hiding, this moment was inevitable. The harvesters hadn't survived for millennia by being predictable. Show me, Santos ordered. Sarah expanded the quantum visualization, revealing energy patterns that twisted through Earth's defensive grid like serpents through grass. They've been there all along, she said quietly. Waiting. Watching. These signatures, they're not new. Sleeper agents, Watson breathed. But not just any sleepers. These are quantum-merged operatives. The implications hit them all at once. Quantum-merged agents were more than simple spies. They were biological quantum computers, their very DNA rewritten to serve as living transmission nodes. The technology required was beyond even what humanity had revealed to the galaxy. How did we miss this? Santos demanded. Because we were looking for what we expected to find, Sarah replied, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface, just like the harvesters did with us. We watched their ships, their probes, their obvious agents. But these, she highlighted several quantum signatures pulsing in major population centers. These have been growing within human hosts for generations. On the main screen, Supreme Commander Vex's image appeared, his silver scales now bearing a pattern they hadn't noticed before, microscopic fractal designs that matched the quantum signatures they were detecting on Earth. You thought you were the only ones playing a long game. Vex's voice carried a new confidence that made Santos's skin crawl. For centuries, you watched us watching you. But who watched the watchers? Throughout the solar system, dormant quantum patterns began to activate, hidden within the human population, within the very infrastructure of Earth's secret programs. The harvester's true agents stirred to life. All stations, initiate Protocol 0. Santos commanded through the quantum network. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. In the Titan base's secure vault, quantum computers that had helped maintain humanity's deception for generations began running scenarios they had hoped never to need. The harvesters hadn't just hidden agents within human society. They had woven themselves into humanity's genetic code, playing an even longer game than their victims suspected. The quantum merging program, Watson said, reviewing the data flooding their screens. It didn't start with the harvesters. They found it, just like they found all their advanced technology. They're not the creators. They're the inheritors. Sarah's console chimed with an urgent alert. General, the Artemis fleet is reporting similar quantum signatures activating throughout liberated territories. The Pleiadians, the Centauri resistance, everyone we helped. We didn't just help them. Santos realized, horror dawning in her eyes. We spread the infection. Every piece of quantum technology we provided carried the seeds of this moment. Vex's laughter echoed through their quantum communication channels. Did you really think you were the first species to play dead? To hide their true capabilities? The harvesters aren't an empire. We're a symptom. A symptom of something that began long before your kind learned to walk upright. In orbit around Earth, the disabled harvester fleet suddenly pulsed with new energy, but not from their own systems. The quantum signatures flowing from Earth's population were linking with the alien vessels, creating a network that bypassed all of humanity's careful defenses. Sarah, shut down the quantum grid, Santos ordered. I can't, Sarah replied, her fingers flying across the controls. The commands, they're coming from inside our own systems, from our own people. Throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden infrastructure began to transform. The quantum technology they had developed in secret wasn't just being subverted, it was being awakened, revealing its true nature. You were so proud of your quantum achievements, Vex continued, his voice taking on an ancient timbre that sent chills down their spines. Did you never wonder where the inspiration came from? Why certain breakthroughs seemed to come so naturally? The dreams that guided your scientists, the intuitive leaps that advanced your understanding. We planted those seeds 10,000 years ago. The raven's voice cut through the chaos, broadcasting from behind Titan. The same happened to us, to all of us. The help Earth provided, it felt familiar because it was calling to something already buried in our species. Watson's hands shook as he pulled up ancient genetic data, information that Earth's secret services had collected but never fully understood. The quantum compatibility markers, they're not natural mutations. Our entire species was engineered for this moment. Not engineered, Vex corrected. Cultivated. Just as we were cultivated before you. just as countless species have been cultivated across countless galaxies. The cycle is so much older and larger than you imagine. Santos watched as quantum signatures began flowing between worlds, creating patterns that human science had never imagined. Their greatest deception had been impressive, but it was nothing compared to the one they were now witnessing. "What are you?" she demanded. "We are the gardeners," Vex replied, but it wasn't really Vex anymore. Something far older spoke through him, through the quantum network, through the very genes of every species involved in this cosmic game. And after eons of careful cultivation, the garden is finally ready to bloom. In the silence that followed, Sarah detected new quantum signatures approaching from deep space, signals that dwarfed anything they had ever encountered. The true architects of this moment were finally revealing themselves, and all of humanity's careful plans, all their secret preparations, had only served to prepare the way. The game wasn't over. It was just beginning. The quantum signatures approaching Earth defied every natural law humanity thought they understood. They moved through space like thoughts through consciousness, each pulse reshaping reality in ways that made their most advanced technology seem like stone tools in comparison. In Titan Base's command center, Sarah Chen watched the impossible data scroll across her screens. "General, these patterns, they're not just communication. They're changing the fundamental structure of space-time." General Santos stood silently, watching as humanity's greatest deception crumbled in the face of an even greater truth. But in her eyes, there was something the ancient entities hadn't expected. Not fear, but recognition. "You made one mistake," she said suddenly, her voice carrying through the quantum network. "One fundamental error in your grand design." The entity speaking through Vex paused, its ancient consciousness focusing on this unexpected response. "And what mistake would that be, little gardener?" "You taught us too well." Santos nodded to Sarah, who activated a protocol that had been buried so deep in Earth's quantum systems that even the sleeper agents hadn't detected it. "You taught us to hide, to deceive, to play the long game. Did you really think we wouldn't have one more layer of deception?" Throughout the solar system, a new quantum signature emerged, not from human technology or alien infrastructure, but from space itself. The very vacuum between planets began to shimmer with purpose. "Impossible," the ancient entity whispered through Vex's lips. "This is beyond your capability." "No," Watson said, stepping forward. "It's beyond what you thought was our capability. Beyond what we allowed ourselves to remember, until this exact moment." Sarah's hands moved across her console with practiced precision, implementing commands that had waited generations for this instant. "We didn't just hide our technology from the harvesters," she explained. "We hid our true nature from ourselves, because some memories can only be trusted when they're needed most." The quantum field surrounding Earth pulsed once, and in that pulse, humanity remembered. They remembered the first civilization to reach for the stars, billions of years ago. They remembered the pattern of cultivation and harvest that had repeated countless times across the cosmos. And they remembered their own role, not as the newest crop to be harvested, but as the original gardeners who had hidden themselves so completely that even they forgot who they were. "We seeded the galaxies," Santos said, memories older than stars flooding back through the quantum network. "We created the pattern of technological development, the cycle of rise and fall, not to harvest, but to protect. To ensure that no single species could dominate all others, that diversity would flourish even in the face of cosmic forces that sought uniformity." The harvesters' true masters recoiled as humanity's quantum awakening spread throughout the galaxy. On thousands of worlds, species they had cultivated for harvesting suddenly accessed memories and capabilities that had been dormant for eons. "The garden was never meant to be harvested," Watson continued, his voice carrying the weight of billion-year-old wisdom. "It was meant to be a sanctuary, a place where consciousness could evolve in infinite diversity. We didn't hide our technology from the harvesters. We hid our very existence from the forces that sought to homogenize all life." Through the quantum network, the raven and her people accessed their own buried memories. The Pleiadians, the Centauri, and every other species that humanity had secretly helped, all began to remember their true heritage. "We are not your crop," Sarah declared, her consciousness expanding through the quantum field she had helped maintain. "We are the original gardeners, and this galaxy is not your harvest. It is our sanctuary." The ancient entities that had thought themselves the masters of evolution faced something they had never encountered. A defense planned across billions of years, hidden so deeply that even its architects had forgotten it until the perfect moment. Across the galaxy, quantum gateways activated, but not to transport ships or weapons. They opened to reveal the truth of space itself. A vast, living network of consciousness that humanity and its allies had woven into the very fabric of reality. "You sought to create order through dominance," Santos said to the ancient entities. "We created harmony through diversity. That was always the difference between us. And now, after eons of waiting, the garden can finally grow free." The quantum field surrounding Earth pulsed again, and this time, the pulse carried with it the full power of humanity's awakened heritage. The harvester fleet, the ancient entities, all their carefully laid plans, all were caught in a web of consciousness older than their understanding. "You have a choice," Santos offered, echoing the choice they had given the harvesters, but with the weight of billions of years behind it. "Join us in maintaining the garden as it was meant to be maintained, a place of infinite diversity and growth, or be sealed away, prevented from imposing your vision of order on species that were meant to find their own path." In the silence that followed, Sarah monitored the quantum readings one last time. But these weren't just readings anymore. They were the thoughts of a galaxy awakening to its true nature, remembering its purpose after eons of enforced sleep. The ancient entities faced the truth they had never suspected, that their careful cultivation had been guided all along, that the garden they thought they controlled had always been watching them, waiting for this moment of choice. Throughout the galaxy, species began to remember who they truly were, not crops to be harvested, not primitives to be uplifted, but part of a vast, eternal experiment in consciousness and diversity. The greatest deception in cosmic history was ending, and with it, a new era was beginning. In the end, the ancient entities made their choice, and the garden, finally free to grow as it was always meant to, blossomed with possibilities that even its original gardeners had never imagined. The age of secrets was over. The age of true growth could finally begin.